Hey
Hi, how are
Lucas.
you?
Okay, it's two people. Which one is Lucas?
Two people. I'm Lucas. I'm here with my co-founder, Vincent.
Nice to meet you.
Hey Lucas, hey Vincent.
Cool.
You know the drill. What are you doing? Like show us your product. Let's do a quick demo, and then afterwards we can discuss anything that's useful for you, you know?
Sounds great. So in terms of what we're doing, very brief before the demo, we're enabling truly multilingual remote work.
Global talent can be split into two groups, those who work fluently in English and those who earn 3 times less. But language shouldn't limit the career potential of people all over the world. And soon it won't. Soon you'll be able to work fluently in Chinese, or a woman in France will work for a company in Brazil. That's what we're trying to do at Toby. Toby is a desktop app that uses AI to translate audio mid-sentence on your device. You want to use Toby to explain how Toby works?
Ça fonctionne dans les deux sens.
It works in both directions, so only you have to have it downloaded to have a multilingual conversation with someone else.
Glossaire personnalisé et adapté à vos besoins.
You can also create a personalized glossary tailored to you and your work, so you don't have to worry about industry jargon.
N'importe quel outil de vidéo avec un
You can now work fluidly on any video tool with minimum delay. You can try it at TryToby.com.
What'd you think of that?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
And so the way our product works is it's a local application that you download onto your device, and it translates all audio and in the future text simultaneously. And so while you are speaking, while you are typing, it translates. Most other competitors focus on consecutive interpretation, which means after you finish the sentence, we're doing it actually simultaneously live. So I'm happy to turn on the translation and have you play around with it. Would you like to do, we support 10 plus languages. Is there any specific language that you would like to test it out with?
I have a very similar language to German, which is called Austrian, which Germans keep reminding me that they can absolutely not understand me, but like we can try it, okay?
Okay, so you want to do English to German? I don't speak German, but I'm from Spain, so I'm happy to do Spanish if that's easiest.
You speak Spanish and we do it into German, and then I reply.
Okay.
Like this is how this works?
Yep, exactly.
Or actually, let's do Spanish to.
So I'm connecting my headphones.
Yeah, let's
So
do Spanish
the way
to
this
English
works-
because otherwise people have no idea what we're talking about.
Sorry?
Let's do Spanish to English, otherwise like nobody has an idea what we're chatting and they think we're like insulting somebody in the chat or something.
That sounds good. So the way we have it set up is you'll hear a bit of the Spanish original audio, and with a bit of a delay, you'll hear the English translation. And then you can reply in English. I'll hear you in my headphones in Spanish. Does that sound good?
Let's see.
All right. Give me 10 seconds to turn it on.
A few moments later.
¿Me escuchas cuando te hablo en español?
Hello, do you hear me when I speak to you in Spanish?
Okay, nice. Yeah. Te escucho bien. Sorry, I hear you well.
Es difícil acostumbrarse, pero como puedes ver, la traducción
It's hard to get used to, but as you can see, the translation starts while I'm talking, and
todo lo posible
our goal is to reduce
una interacción de trabajo
the delay as much as possible
en distintos idiomas.
That's interesting.
so we can have a real-time work interaction in different languages.
Nice. So in a perfect scenario, I wouldn't even hear the Spanish one. I would only hear the English one, right?
Tenemos aquí la opción de escuchar el idioma
We
original.
have here the option to listen to the original
Muchas personas nos han
language and the translated language.
escuchar el idioma original.
Many people have told us that they like to listen to the original language, and that's why we have the option here. But if you want, I can take it off completely.
Can we try
So
to
you
take
can
it off
only
completely just for a second? Like
translated
how weird
language.
the experience is?
Hello, am I speaking to you in Spanish, and you should just listen to the audio translated.
It's fascinating. But like, now we obviously don't know if you're actually speaking Spanish or not. So like I kind of like defeated the whole purpose of the demo. But I trust you that you're still speaking Spanish right now. Cool. Let's jump back to English. Like let's get out of this. Otherwise, it's a bit too slow.
A few moments later.
So how does it technically work?
So there's a lot of ways to do this. The kind of naive approach is speech to text, machine translation, and text back to speech. However, it's pretty lossy. A lot of information, it's like a game of telephone, literally. And then what we currently are working with is like end-to-end speech in, speech out. However, as technology gets better, we'll do whatever it takes to improve latency and improve accuracy. Right.
The nice thing, yeah, we're very modular, so we can kind of plug and play whichever component is best, fastest, and highest accuracy.
And the core components, like are these like what are you using? Like are these like open source machine learning models? Are you like building your own? Like how can I imagine this?
Yeah, so some of it's open source. Like if we're doing the speech to text cascade, you can use Whisper and otherwise. But a lot of these things, if you're going to use open source, aren't necessarily built for like synchronous live translation. They're built for you take the MP3 of the meeting recording or the YouTube video you want to dub of Mr. Beast or whatever it is, and then take this entire chunk, translate it in 11 labs. The entire chunk. 11 labs is built for roughly 30 minutes or 30 seconds of audio. At least that's their like a batch size. Same with Whisper, it's around a minute or so. And so we don't have the time to wait for a minute of consecutive translation. So we change the open source to make it such that it's ready for like actual live translation.
So how can I imagine this? Do you basically estimate where a sentence stops and just like start early with the translation? Is this how I imagine it?
So it's not sentence by sentence. One could do the again. I mean, good intuition. The one could do just look for punctuation marks and regexit and all this, and then send it batch by batch. What we look for is, I mean, we have like what's called a monotonic attention like network. It's kind of like a network that sits on top of the text as it's streamed in. And for audio, if we're using our end-to-end audio model, and we say halfway through this sentence, do we have enough information to make a translation? So if I say, hello, my name is Vincent. When I'm saying my name is, the following word it can be attended to, it's going to be a proper noun. And so hello is independent of the proper noun Vincent. And so you can already start translating hello, so hola, or guten tag, or whatever.
So that's our big innovation, is being able to translate mid-sentence and making it as simultaneous and real-time as possible to actually enable work. That's kind of the big proprietary tech here.
Is this something you want to race for, or something you just want to make money with?
No, this is something that we want to race for.
Interesting. Okay, cool. What's your take on like OpenAI, like currently doing like live to live? It's not like the same because you have to finish the sentence, obviously, but at least from the casual consumer case, it's very similar. You know what I mean? What's your take on that?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, there are a few things to highlight. I mean, the first one is the best version of our product is one where you don't even notice it at all. And so what OpenAI is trying to do is human to machine interaction and behavior. And so having a personal assistant that you can talk to that's an AI is kind of their main objective, like her. Well, our focus is trying to make this as seamless as possible. And so doing person-to-person interaction with AI frictionlessly in the middle. And so the simultaneous component of that is very important because like you kind of were very quick to realize the best version of this product is one where you just hear the translation and where it doesn't even there's translation in between. And so what we want to do is, like I mentioned, enable multilingual work. And so we're starting with speech, but we're going to do whatever we can to make this a reality, whether it's embedding text into the platform, which we realize from our users is a big need as well, since a lot of work happens on Slack, on email, doing real-time text is a concern there. And so our big vision is having an end-to-end platform that enables multilingual work with communication.
Makes complete sense. What's your take? So you can either be like very horizontal, like in the sense of like this is speech translation for any use case, any modern work, any specific work, and so on and so on, like from any desktop app to any live discussion and so on and so on. The other way could be to go more vertical and say like, hey, there are specific use cases where real-time translation is very important. Obviously like the UN and stuff like that, but I guess there's others, but in that case, we would build more than just that, we would like go deep into that space. What's your POV like right now? Like, which way?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we want to be very deliberate in the sense that there are many different directions you could take this in, as you alluded to. We want to go more the vertical route. And so we're starting very concretely with technical talent and hiring Spanish to English technical talent between the Americas. And so US companies hiring Latin American technical talent. Right now, 3% of Latin America speaks English. 10% of Latin American software engineers or highly technical talent speak English. And so there's a huge gap between the opportunities that you can get, as I'm sure you know, in terms of economic opportunities and outcomes there. And then also just on the translation side, technical conversations are the hardest ones to translate. There's over 10% of words in conversations with software engineers are specific technical jargon, whether APIs, Python, JavaScript, all these things. And with general translation solutions, Python is translated as a snake. And
I used to live in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and I was studying there, and I basically just arrived with knowing barely any Spanish.
Right.
And I was able to get through a full presentation just by the fact that every noun is anyway English. You know what I mean? So like was basically just very simple verbs, and then just like always the noun. And I managed to do like a whole presentation like that, not like gracefully, but like at least, you know, I got my grade.
It's a big reason why we chose English to Spanish as well is because you can do this like almost word level translation. You don't want to wait for an entire monologue to finish to be able to consecutively chunk that. German is a little bit more, or Austrian perhaps is a little more difficult because, you know, different subject, object, verb order and all that. Like, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
My layman feedback is like, see if you can pick one or two specific use cases. You picked like the professional tech worker, Spanish American, you know, and then see how deep you can go there, you know. There might be other interesting use cases, but like that's realistically because maybe you're lucky, quote unquote, and you unlock something where it's like, hey, in this specific scenarios, it's actually really, really important that this is like quickly translated. Or in these specific cases, it's not just about the Zoom call, it's about more. Like they want afterwards, like be able to go back. Like imagine this would be the UN. You would like to have an insurance that this is like correctly translated in afterwards, you know, and all of this kind of stuff, you know. So like there's a double check and triple check, and there's like additional stuff that's done afterwards. And there's a whole process that needs to be standard compliant and so on and so on, you know. Or like larger board meetings or whatever, you know, like there's like a standard compliance process that you can cover that OpenAI will never touch, you know what I mean? It is, yeah, but like, you know, all of this, like I'm not telling you anything new. Guys, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
When I looked at their submission, I actually assumed it's completely built on top of OpenAI. But if everything is built in-house, this is actually an interesting place for them because that allows them at least to be extremely specific in verticalization.